Hello and welcome here as we are inside of, I'm going to move a little bit closer here, inside of the Wildcat Sports Pub, on site, on location, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Genesee, your Wildcats. And we have boys lacrosse here with us here tonight. And of course, we're going to have a couple of the players here with us for the first piece, and then we're going to stay live with you on Facebook and YouTube and bring in two more of the players. So before we get started with anything, can we please show a round of applause from the community for West Genesee Boys Lacrosse? Let's show them some love. So we have head coach with us, Eric Burns, and of course we have River Oudemool as well as Ryan Mahoney here with us. We'll be coming up in just a little bit with Pat Linton and Sam Rosa. So we appreciate you being here on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and of course inside of the Wildcat Sports Pub. So River, you got the mic, so I'll start with you. How are things? How's everything going?
It's going pretty well. We just got out of practice, so boys are a little smelly, as you can probably tell. Just kind of getting ready, working on it yesterday and working towards tomorrow.
What is it about this year's team that you've enjoyed the most?
Definitely the time outside of the field. I mean, we've been doing a lot of player dinners, stuff like that, and just time in the locker room. It's been great this year. It's been really fun.
Time in the locker room has been good. What's keeping the team together?
We got a lot of great personalities on the team. A lot of good guys, a lot of younger guys, older guys. Good collective mix of different.
All right, fair enough. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. What can you say about the makeup of this year's team? How would you describe, maybe in a couple words, what this group of guys kind of brings to the table?
I think a big one is energy. Everybody shows up ready to play, ready to have fun, but I think ready to work too. Everyone's really just ready to go when it comes to practice, to games.
So energy-wise, who would be the most energetic on the team in your opinion?
Oh, it's got to be number 13, Sam Rosa.
Sam Rosa. Okay, we're going to talk to Sam in a little bit here. Would you guys agree? Is it Sam? Yeah? Yeah, no. We got yeah, no. What's your vote? Oh, it's you. Okay. All right. So we have most votes for Sam, 1 vote for yourself. So I appreciate that. I like that. So energetic-wise, the energy, is it similar to last year? Is it different? Is it more heightened right now? How do you look at it?
I think it's similar. I think there's a little more, people having more fun. I think we learned what it was like last year, and then we built off that. And so we're trying to just do better and bring it more often.
Bring it more often, fair enough. All right, Coach, I'm going to flip to you here. Let you.
Just what you can say about, I mean, obviously you've chosen 4 guys to come up here and represent the team tonight. River and Ryan, why have them up here being a representation of West Genesee?
Well, first, they're our leaders. They're our captains. They were selected by their team to be our captains, and so they're natural leaders. You know, they're leaders on the field. They work very hard, lead by example. And then we have, out of a couple of them, we have some vocal leaders as well. You know, and to make sure that everybody stays on point, stays on task. And they're a great. We have 34 great guys here. We really do. We've lucked out, and these are just 4 that are great leaders.
How difficult is it to corral 34 people to the same mission, and how would you describe this year's team?
It can be difficult, no doubt about it. And you know, 34 guys and making sure that everybody's getting the reps that they need in practice can be difficult, especially we go game on, game off, game on, game off. And so we're going every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday here throughout the season. That can be tough to do. But like I said, these guys are hard workers. You know, when we tell them that this is the drill, you know, they jump on it and get moving and you know, do what they need to do. And so this group makes it a lot easier, especially with our transition into being the new head coaches. And you know, they've made things quite easy for us in this transition.
And Coach, you brought it up, you know, being this your first season taking over for West Genesee boys lacrosse. River, I want to go to you first on this. How would you describe Coach and just what Eric has brought to this team this season?
I mean, it was definitely nothing unexpected. A lot of the guys have known him. I mean, he was coaching me when I was in 3rd grade, playing for ER Selects. I mean, I still remember that. So it was definitely nothing unexpected. Just the same old stuff, fundamentals, all the stuff he's preached since we were young kids. So it's been great. It was really a smooth transition, him going from JV to varsity. It just worked out well. A lot of the guys came up with him, and he really knew the talent pool. And it stepped in really well.
When you go through a coaching change like that, you said it was smooth. Why was it so smooth? Was it because of that JV and a familiar face for you specifically?
Him, Coach St. Croix coached me my freshman year. We had, great relationship right off the bat, and even the new hire, Drew, was, he was my physical therapist. So they're just all community faces, guys guys a lot of the guys in this room know, and it worked out really well.
Ryan, what would you say about having Coach Burns here as your coach for varsity? Just what this transition has been like?
I think it went pretty well. We had the whole summer, fall. We had a lot of time that wasn't just start of the season. I think Rivers had we knew what we were getting because we've had him before. We've grown up with him, and I think it made it smooth.
How would you describe Coach in practice since you just came out of practice?
I think he responds to what you give him. If you're not giving 100%, he'll get on you for that. But if you're giving 100%, he'll praise you for it.
So tough love.
Exactly.
And you get from him what you give to him, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. River, is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, I think you answered that question pretty well.
Okay, fair enough. Coach, how would you describe, taking over this team for varsity, being a part of the JV, being a part of the West Genesee community, and obviously having connections family-wise at West Genesee? Did it feel like much of a transition? Did you feel much difference at all? I mean, how did it kind of look through your eyes?
A lot more work. How about that? A lot more work. No, it's been pretty seamless. It really has. The community has been supportive. Our coaching staff is fantastic, and so I can't say enough great things about Coach St. Croix, Coach Semino, and the coaches at the lower levels. Everybody has been so supportive. What do you need? How can I help you? The parents over here that are here tonight and that have been supportive all throughout the season and the off season. It's made things so easy for us so that all we need to do is concentrate on what's going on the field, organization there, prep for the games. So it's been a fun year. It's been a fun year.
Is this a role that you wanted to take? Did you ever think about moving up to varsity in the past, or is it something that kind of just came to fruition?
It kind of came to fruition. This was not the plan whatsoever. And, we were very happy at the JV level. We were very happy to be a part of this program. It's a legendary program, and to continue to be a part of it was awesome. And things kind of just happened the way they did. We were working and leading them throughout the summer. It was a great group of guys, like I've said, and, we finally made that decision by August that, we would love to lead this program.
How do you coach a legendary program?
It's difficult. And a lot of people have been asking about the pressure. But being a player, playing at some of the higher levels, you see pressure. You have pressure, and you feel that nervousness, and we've talked about it all throughout the season. That pressure throughout, as in their high school days and then eventually into their college days, is just going to prep them for any type of pressure and anxiety and other issues that they're going to see throughout their lifetime. And so I feel like that pressure has helped me to be able to take on this anxiety, take on the pressure, take on the hard work, take on everything that this job brings us. And it's prepped me pretty well.
So you enjoy the pressure, so to speak. Maybe you found a way to use it at this point?
Yeah, you can utilize it in any which way. You can let it eat you up, or you can drive it.
Do you feel the pressure, River, being a part of West Genesee history?
Yes and no. There's always there's always pressure in a good way. You want to feel that pressure. You want to embrace it. You want to step up to the bat.
Yeah.
But it's not the kind of crippling pressure that kind of gets in your head, fills your head, that kind of thing. So it's good to feel the pressure, know what's behind you, know what this program was, and what it can be. And so it's good to just kind of keep moving forward day by day. Like Coach Burke says a lot, and step up.
What about you, Ryan? Do you get a sense for that? A sense for the history, or when you're out there, is it just this season?
I think we all know what comes with this program. I think that pushes you a little bit to be better every day. But when you're out there, it's just playing for right now.
Who would you consider the biggest inspiration in your life? Who do you look to when you need that pick me up?
I'd say my dad. He's there, and he's been a good role model throughout my whole life. So that's who I look to.
What is it about your father that sticks out the most? Is there something that he said to you before that when you needed in a game, you could just kind of dial it up in your brain? Is there something you can go to?
I want him to be proud of me, and then that kind of pushes me to just keep going.
Fair enough. River, what about you? Do you have that place of inspiration you can focus in on?
I don't know. It's life. I'd definitely say my dad, but in sports, he definitely put pressure on me to work hard for things, but he never forced this on me. So sports have kind of been my own venture, my own, thing, and he's definitely helped me a ton along the way and given me all he's got knowledge-wise, but I don't know. It's a tough question, There's a lot of different answers. There's a lot of different places to draw inspiration from, and I think it kind of just depends on where you are that day, that moment.
So, that was a very good answer, yeah. In this moment, let's say in practice today, where did you pull from?
Probably, most likely yesterday. Yesterday stung a little bit, and definitely tomorrow. Got a lot to work for. And I guess that's just, every practice is just a combination of those two things. And we talk about it. Practices are just, you're trying to fix what happened, whether you win or lost, you're trying to fix what happened the practice today, the game before, and prepare for the next game. So it can be a lot,
What made you fall in love with lacrosse?
That's a really tough question. I've been playing ever since I was a little kid. I really don't know. Just the fun I've had. A lot of the guys in this room that I've been playing with since I was a young kid have really just, made quite the culture and quite the group.
Of the people that you've been playing with most of your life, who do you think has pushed you the hardest to be the best player that you can be?
Jack Perrick's raising his hand, but it's not him.
Who raised their hand? Jack?
I don't know. There's a lot of guys. Jack Garvey would be definitely a matchup. I've been playing against him every practice since we were young kids. Nelson Hutchins would be another one. Patrick Linton, Ryan Considine, Coach's son, Liam Burns. Just a lot of the guys I've been playing with the longest. You just kind of pull from a lot of different places, and it keeps the environment active.
I appreciate that. Ryan, for you, what made you fall in love with it?
I think definitely the group of guys I was playing with helped me stick with it. And then when I would go and put hours in by myself, it just was fun. I didn't have to be with anybody. I was just having fun with a stick, wall ball, and net. It was just a lot of fun.
You said going by yourself and just having those moments alone. What do you take from those moments of silence? Because growing up, I played basketball. I loved when there was nobody on the court. I just wanted to be by myself. I used to go to the public safety building because one of my godfathers is a cop, so he used to bring us up there and just leave us in the gym. My buddy James and I, who's actually from out here, and we would just hear the ball bounce, and then besides us talking, it was silent. So those moments where you have that silence, what do you take from those moments?
I think it's just seeing how much I enjoy the game, so I can just be out there by myself, no matter what I'm doing, if it's shooting, playing wall ball, I'm just enjoying it.
Has it ever dipped? Have you ever kind of lost a little bit of the love for it and came back? Or has it stayed constant?
I don't really think it's dipped at all. I think it stayed pretty constant throughout my years.
Well, Coach,
You get to hear from these guys speak so highly about their own training, their time, just by themselves, working out and whatnot. What does it mean to you to have the young leadership that you have?
Oh, it breeds success. You know, without the leadership, without that drive, without that work ethic, West Genesee would not be where it is today. You know, Coach Masser bred that for years and years and years, and he found those young men that were able to have that drive, that did work on their own. That's what makes them great. That's what makes them great. That's what makes an athlete an above average athlete, and if not an outstanding athlete, is that extra work on their own. And a lot of these guys have recognized that, they realize that, and a lot of them have that aspiration of playing college lacrosse, and they know that that's what is needed. And so to have that as our leaders of this team, and I know there's a lot of guys out here that are the exact same way, that do an awful lot of work on their own to get themselves better, to get their team better, and it's great, and it starts right here.
Coach Masser, you brought him up, over 4 decades dedicated to this community. Do you see that still to today? Is there a connection back to the history in your opinion? Can you go back there and kind of pull something from those moments?
I absolutely try to. You know, he was my coach, and so I've learned pretty much everything that I know about lacrosse from Coach Masser, and so that's quite easy from inside of me. But not to mention, I am in contact, the other coaches are in contact with Coach Masser, Coach Deegan, and they want us to succeed. And so to have them in our corner, to have them taking a look at film, to have them watching our games, being up in the booths, you know, supporting us, cheering us on, is huge. It's absolutely huge. And so, you know, we get a lot of reaffirmation of what we're doing as a team in practices, in games, and to hear them say, you're doing a great job with this, what do you think about trying this and this and that, you know, and they offer us advice, and it's fantastic for us to have them in our corner.
Well, that being said, here with West Genesee Boys Lacrosse on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT. In this Wake Up Call special on site at the Wildcat Sports Pub, it's time to jump into rapid fire. You guys will have a couple to ask me, and I'll throw them right back at you before we have Sam and Pat come up here. Coach, I'll only ask you one because I'll save some for round number 2. But Ryan, I'm going to start with you. So your teammates are all around us, watching you eye to eye right now. I want you to tell me which one of your teammates you would spend a week with on an island where you had to talk to them all day long. Who could you deal with that you feel like you would never get sick of for a week, and why?
I think it's Ryan Considine. Just everything he says can make you laugh. It's always something new with him.
Okay, fair enough. I like that. He appreciates the answer. What's your first one for me?
What 3 things would you bring if you were stuck on an island?
Do I have food or no?
You have food, but just enough to survive.
Okay, I got enough food to survive, because that would have been first. So I would bring my dog. I'd bring Lily, because she's always positive. So I would not really think about being on an island if she was there. What else would I bring? I'd bring a pen and paper, because which I kind of count as one, because I've always been old school. Like, I've written songs, write shows, write ideas. I've always been a writer. So I would want to have that, because then I could kind of whatever I'm thinking about, I can jot down and turn into something. So I'd want to do that. I'd want to kind of chronicle what it was like to be on the island. And then the third thing I would bring, it's tough. Third thing I would bring my dog, the pen and paper. What else would I bring on an island? Probably something to do, you know. I'd probably have to bring myself, you know, one of those, okay, I'll liken it to lacrosse. So I'd have to bring myself one of those nets that can throw it back to me, and something where I need to do something that is workout related, but that can take my mind off of things, there wouldn't be a wall, so I'd have to have a net, and I'd have to go with that, I guess. My question for you, River. If any one of your teammates could play you in a movie, who would you trust to accurately be you?
This is a really tough question. Accurately?
Accurately, yeah.
I'm looking around. That's tough. I mean, I'd probably have to say Ryan Kemp. I feel like I don't know. Just for some reason, I feel like I've spent a good bit of time with Kemp. Just like we've gone to a lot of lacrosse tournaments together.
Okay.
Been around each other. I feel like he knows me pretty well. I feel like he could do a pretty good job.
Okay, fair enough. Is that fair? Yeah? Give it to, okay. All right, so he thinks that. River, what's your question for me?
All right, it's kind of a two-parter here.
Okay.
Who's your NFL team, and what do you think about their draft picks?
That is a phenomenal question. I've answered many questions about this team on this stage, and at this point I feel like I would do I felt for a while that I could be the general manager of this team and probably do a better job. There was a time span of, they made it to the AFC Championship game a few years ago, and when they made it, the 6 years of draft picks that they had, the 40 players, none of them were on the roster. So that showed how poorly they drafted to not get to where they were trying to go. And so I would love Trent Baalke to step aside and let me take over the Jaguars. But they've been my favorite team since '95. I love Fred Taylor. Big fan of Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell, Donovan Darius, who played at Syracuse, Aaron Beasley, Tony Brackens, the first guy that we will ever see from Jacksonville in the Hall of Fame, Tony Baselli, who's getting his bust made right now, which is cool. So the Jaguars are my team. How do I feel about their draft? I wanted Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson struggled against Georgia. This is where I think Trent Baalke's mind went. Trayvon Walker has upside. He's played D-tackle, linebacker, and DN. He's versatile. Aiden Hutchinson has played like 2 full seasons, and he's done well, but up against the SEC, he was terrible. Trayvon Walker played in the SEC. So them up against each other, Trayvon did a better job, maybe in Trent's mindset, than Aiden Hutchinson did, so I can get that. I like Devin Lloyd. I like going and getting a linebacker in the first round. They got a running back named Snoop, who's going to be their 4th string running back right now. I'm okay with that. I like they got a couple linebackers, and I think ultimately, even more so than the draft, I think they went out and got veteran receivers and then shed the young guys that weren't working out. And so I think their offseason moves have been good. They need to be, because they spent a lot of money. And they paid Christian Kirk like he's DK Metcalf, and he's not. So we'll see how it goes, but if Trent Baalke can't get it done this year and it's 7 wins or less, then Jacksonville, you have my phone number, and I would love to make that work. All right, Coach, I'm only going to ask you one because we're going to bring the other guys up here in a second. So, when you took the job, what was the one thing that you wanted the families to know, and do you feel like they know that now?
The athletes' families?
Yeah, the families of West Chester.
Ooh, the families of West Chester. What did I want them to know?
Like, what was the central message that you hoped that they got?
Oh, central message. What was my central message to the families there? Yeah, I know. That's a great question. And so I'd have to chalk it up to that we're going to be firm supporters of these guys, that we're going to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to get them to be successful, but there's going to be a lot of expectations on these boys as well from us. And so knowing that we're in charge of these boys for the 2 hours a day, they're going to be safe, they're going to be fine, but they're going to be challenged to their highest level. How about that?
I like it. All right, what you want from me?
All right, well, you're an interview guy, so, I mean, and you're huge into sports, and so if you got 3 guys next to you here, Who would be your 3 historical athletes of any time period, any location, anywhere? What 3 athletes would you want to interview here on these couches?
One of them is a good friend. Well, I mean, I'm probably sitting with any of these guys, it'd be the relationship, but one of my close friends that had passed on, and I still to this day, like, I can't, it doesn't make sense to me that we were friends, because to me he was larger than life always, and I felt like it was an honor to like shake his hand and walk by him in a mall. But we spent 8 years talking with each other, spent a lot of time together. He did a video for my grandmother's 100th birthday, and that's Floyd Little. So Floyd would be sitting here, and I've gotten to sit with Floyd plenty of times, and Floyd actually helped me start my business, and he didn't even know that he did when he did, because I was at a traditional radio station, and I was at a crossroads, and I said, you know, Floyd, I don't feel like my morals and my values fit these people, and I don't want to give up who I am to be here, but I don't know where to go. And I was right at that crossroad, at that fork, and he said, in his like whisper, he would get loud and whisper, he said, he's like, you got something. He's like, you got that aura, I see it. And he was like, you know, there's people that got it. He's not everybody has it. He's like, but you know when someone's going to be successful, and you got that. You got that. And it was him, my grandma that I called G-Mama, and my parents. Those were the 4 people that helped me in my inner circle start my business, and we turned 10 years old this year in July. So Floyd's a big part of that. I would say another person that I want to sit here with me, so hard. I would say definitely Floyd. I want to go from different places. I would want to sit with Whitey Ford, because my grandfather, my dad, big Yankee fans. Whitey and I have the same birthday. So I like to sit with Whitey and have some fun with him. And then it would either be him or Joe Torre. So one of those 2 from the Yankees. And then my third one, who would I want to sit with? You said from the sports world. If it was from entertainment, it'd be Robin Williams. But from the sports world, I would say, man, I've talked with Coach K and Roy Williams and Jim Boeheim and Tom Izzo. There's a lot of guys that I've gotten to talk with, Jay Wright. I would say if I had a chance to talk with somebody that I haven't talked to yet, I feel like it would be probably Michael Jordan. I want to sit with Mike. You know, like, that would be fun for me to do that. I definitely would not choose, well, I don't want to say it, but I do want to say it. Tom Brady is the GOAT, okay? He is the GOAT. But he's getting so conceited and so full of himself that I'm losing respect for him by the second. So I finally called him the GOAT, and now he's like showing his guns off, saying that he could be The Rock's stunt double. He's an idiot. So I'm not a big fan of Tom Brady outside of football. Like, shut your mouth, play football, let's move on. So, River, my next question for you, I had to take a shot at Tom, I'm sorry. So my next question for you talk to me about the NFL. Besides lacrosse, this isn't my question, but what is your like favorite sport to watch besides lacrosse?
I mean, definitely, I watch college lacrosse the most.
Okay.
Then, next to that, probably, it sounds boring, but probably golf or NFL. Like, those are probably my 2 most.
Okay. So if you could,
I know it's boring.
if you could sit and interview any golfer, who would you want to interview and why?
I want to pick the brain of a big competitor. Tiger would obviously, that'd be an obvious pick.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of Rory.
Okay.
I'd love to sit down, the Irishman. I'd like to sit down and interview him probably.
Okay, I like that. Rory McIlroy, I like that. Okay, what's your question for me?
Let's see. I guess you talked about, you come up here, you bring a lot of like high school athletes up in here. Like, did you play any sports in high school? What was that like? Did you go to high school? All that kind of stuff.
I did. So I played basketball from when I was 7, organized all the way through high school. So basketball was always my thing. It was always my sport. I wanted to play D1. I'm 5'8". I can shoot, but I got recruited D3, which I'm still very proud of that. So I would say to this day, a couple weeks ago I played basketball, and I still have to, but the corner three is my favorite three, because you got to be straight on. And I said, I went to and you have to leave on a make. And I went, we were playing outside, and I went to the corner as far as I could go to the grass. And I said, I got to make this or I'm not going home. First shot up, first shot down, grabbed the basketball and I left. But it's still my favorite shot to this point. So basketball was always my passion. So I would say basketball. All right, Ryan. Trying osmosis here. Eye to eye here. Trying to think, do you like music or movies? Which one would you rather go with?
I would say movies.
Movies?
Yeah.
You like Marvel? Do you watch Marvel or no?
I like it. I'm not a huge fan of it.
Okay. What are you a fan? This isn't a question, but what are you a fan of? What type of movie? That'll direct my question.
Any good one.
Any good one. That does not direct my question. Okay. So you're going to jump into the world of any movie that you've seen. What movie world would you want to jump into and for that to be your reality for the rest of your life?
Well, if I could be Spider-Man, that would be really cool.
I ask him Marvel, he says yes, but I'm not really a fan, and then he goes back to Marvel. I like it.
So,
Spider-Man's my favorite. I'm
the
good.
main character would be Spider-Man. But
Okay. Which Spider-Man? Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, or Tobey Maguire's world?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
He had
Okay.
He had the best suits. So
Okay. I want to hear. I need to do this for me, gentlemen. By a round of applause, I'm going to name the three Spider-Men, and by a round of applause, we're going to see which one you guys are a favorite of. Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield. All right. Tom Holland. All right. Let me hear Tobey Maguire one more time. All right. And let me hear Tom Holland. I think it's a slight edge to Tom Holland. I think it is. Because we have one loud clapper in the back. I think Tom Holland gets it. I think it's got to be Tom Holland on that. But you chose Spider-Man. You chose Tom Holland. Did you, I'm guessing you saw No Way Home?
Yes, I did.
And are you going to see Doctor Strange?
Probably. I'm not going to go running to the theaters to see it, but at some point I'll see it.
But you'll see it. You pick Spider-Man. I like that. What's your question for me?
What is your least favorite sport to watch and why?
Oh, man. My least favorite sport to watch. I don't dislike baseball. I dislike that it's so long because I'm a Diamondback fan. And 162 games, if they go 80-1, they will still not make the playoffs because they'll do horrible in the second part. So I think that season's really long, but I'm sorry, River, I can't watch golf. Not for like 3 hours. I can watch the end. If it's coming down to a couple guys, 2-3 guys, head to head, and we're seeing that, like it comes down to that last hole, I'm watching. And I'm normally watching Tiger. But golf is hard to watch from beginning to end for me. Like, you put on March Madness, noon to midnight, all day I'm there. I watched the entire draft almost this time around, all 7 rounds of the NFL. So, but golf is just, I would rather play it than watch it, is what I'm saying. So for River Oudemool as well as Ryan Mahoney, please give these gentlemen a round of applause because they have just wrapped up. Pat and Sam will bring them up now. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Thank you. So as we continue here on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, we have the gentleman here with us right now. How are you guys? Good. So we'll make sure that we got you, bring you over here a little bit, get you on screen. And we are here, of course, inside of the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, here every single month with Wildcat specials from Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with the West Genesee Wildcats at the Wildcat Sports Pub. And, of course, you're watching and listening to Wake Up Call during our normal schedule every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So, Pat, Sam, welcome. How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing very well. Pat, I'm going to start with you. How do you think Ryan and River did up here?
They really set the bar, not gonna lie.
Okay.
River always has great answers, so.
Okay. River always has great answers, you said.
Yes.
What is it about? Could you talk to him about anything when it comes to life? Do you just think he's like a Yoda? I have to say that because today's May the 4th. It is Star Wars Day. Is he like knowledgeable of everything?
He has a lot of knowledge in his head.
A lot of knowledge.
You can
in
talk
his
to him
head.
about anything. He'll talk about anything.
Okay. What's the one thing that you think you could stump River on? Or is there anything?
He's saying nothing right now, but
He said nothing? Okay, what do you say?
with girls. Doesn't know a lot about him. Doesn't know a lot about him.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Sam, how are you? Welcome.
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing very well. I have to ask you this question since you both have grown it out a little bit here. Who has the better hair, you or Pat?
Pat's is a little more tame. Mine is a little bit longer. Depends on what you like. You know.
Are you?
I would go. Personally, I like to grow it out, let it go. So I would go with myself.
How long are you going to grow this hair?
Probably about to the end of the season, and I'll cut it real short.
You cut it really short after the season.
Yeah, I get like one haircut a year.
Okay.
Just grow it out.
All right. So is it every year like that, or is that like a, hey, if we make it this far, I'm not cutting it?
Nah, pretty much just since high school, I'll get a haircut, and then it'll grow out. I like it coming out of the back of the helmet. And then in the summer it gets hot, so I'll cut it off.
All right, fair enough. So you've heard your teammates talk about this year's squad. 3 words to describe this year's West Genesee boys lacrosse team.
Energetic for sure. Gritty. I'll probably go last one. Just fun.
Energetic, gritty, and fun.
Yeah.
Okay. We've heard energetic from the guys. Why'd you choose gritty and why'd you choose fun?
Gritty because, where we ended off last year and where we started out this year, we've been the underdog in quite a few games. We've kind of embraced that, and that's kind of where we strive. We strive when we're kind of not always the favorite. We strive kind of in the trenches of every game, making the hard plays, working hard, stuff.
Why fun?
Like River said, we've just had so much fun this year. The practices have been amazing. Like the team dinners, it's just been. I would take this group over any other group. They can do anything with these guys.
I like that. I can appreciate that. Pat, you heard Sam say underdog. It's not something that's typical of West Genny. Have you embraced the underdog?
Yeah, I definitely think we have. We don't think it's a bad thing. We just go in every day, just get better every day. Prepare for the next game.
What is it about being an underdog that you love the most?
Like Sam said, being gritty. Got to work hard. Because that's the West Genny way too, getting the ground balls, getting down and dirty.
You talk about practice being fun, Coach.
What do you do in practice that you believe makes these guys say that, yeah, you command a lot, but it's also fun?
Well, I think one of the big points of our practices is that they're always moving. All right? We're going from one drill to the next, to the next, to the next, and they have the expectation of moving into that drill and getting in their line, getting into whatever formation we needed to be, and going with it. And rep after rep after rep, and by the end of the 2 hours or so, they're sweating and. They turn around and we just did stick drills to transition to 6-on-6, or shooting drills and footwork. They've done a number of different drills, and they're having fun playing the greatest sport out there. And not to mention their hard work. It like I said before, it makes it easy for us to get them moving from drill to drill to drill.
You just said greatest sport out there for lacrosse. Why?
The sport just contains so much. It contains a high IQ, above average athleticism. It's up and down. It's the fastest sport on 2 feet. That ball flies, 100 miles an hour for shots, and that can be within a game, not just in the shooting contest. It's got physicality. It's got everything you need. It has aspects of basketball and hockey and soccer and the physicality of football. It's got everything.
What, for you, growing up, was the most challenging part of the
I guess that the most challenging is Coach Masser's expectations of you. He takes you as an athlete and he makes you, an above average lacrosse player, if not better. And you had no choice but to do that. If you wanted to be a part of this program, you had to buy in, 365, 24/7, and the expectations, that bar was so high. But yet he made it in a way that you wanted to achieve that bar. You wanted to achieve whatever it was for you individually, as a group, as a state champion. That was probably the hardest piece, but one of the main reasons why I've grown to love it so much.
You have spoken so highly of Coach Masser. I know that obviously he's left an impact on you. How do you put your own stamp, so to speak,
Sure.
on the team yourself? What is the Eric Burns way? If you have nuances of other coaches, what do you think is that thing that people can look to and say, that's a Coach Burns team?
Well, I think these guys have said a lot, that I try to bring a lot of energy to this group. I'm bringing a lot of what Coach Masser and Coach Calabufo and those other coaches that I've learned an awful lot from, but I need to make it myself and try to bring the energy and the passion that I have for this sport, and hopefully that's a little contagious on these guys, and they are. They're coming to the field every single day to enjoy the game they love, and I hope they see how much love we have for it as well, and that's contagious.
Gentlemen, Pat, I'll start with you. How do you feel Coach Burns has left his mark on the team?
Well, it's his first year, and I love what he's doing. I love how he can blend the old with the new. And he lets us really, when we're out there, we can do what we want. It's play free, but also still disciplined.
When you say blend the old with the new, what's the old, what's the new?
High socks, that's one. And just our work ethic, our mindset every game, every practice, what we do, practice-wise, Jenny 3-on-2, all that.
What has Coach Burns done to get the most out of you? Is there something you can point to in your game that you think he's pulled out of you even more?
He always holds me accountable. So if I'm not playing to my standard or if I'm not going 100%, he's going to let me know. Always.
Fair enough. Sam, how would you describe Coach Burns' mark so far on varsity?
I definitely agree with the new. He knows the game so well. He's still around it. He still probably watches college lacrosse every weekend. And that's probably the biggest thing is we really are running an offense and a defense and stuff like that. The systems we have in place are not, I bet not a lot of high schools can do. Stuff like that. We're really preaching high level stuff. We're trying to really reach the next level with this team because we know we have it in us.
Coach talked about just not stopping for 2 hours, just move to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. What can you say about that dynamic in practice and what you like about that and what challenges you?
I like that it gets us game ready. It keeps you moving. It kind of gets you in shape through the drill so you don't have to do running, just plain running. It's a lot more fun when you can do it through the drills. And it's a lot more fun when you can get through the passing drills and stuff quickly so that you can just end up playing. That's how you learn the most. It's when you're playing, you get subbed off, you're watching those guys, you're learning from their mistakes and what they do good. Just always moving, always getting better, always competing, stuff like that.
Pat, for you, being around this year's team and seeing the dynamic and like we talked about the underdog and whatnot, what is something at the beginning of the season that maybe the team didn't have that you think they have now?
Yeah, it is a tough question. I mean, one of the things is just our chemistry we have. I mean, all of us, either they're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, they're all together, having fun, talking. They can talk to whoever they want.
Where's
Comfortable with each other.
What'd you say?
They're comfortable with each other.
Comfortable with each other. Where does the leadership come from? Of your teammates and if you want to say yourself or
Yeah, our four captains.
how would you describe this group of captains?
I mean, we lead by example. We're always gonna pick up the ground balls, We're always going to chase balls when it's ball hunt. We're not going to take a play off either.
Sam, what can you say to that effect? Where you have, I mean, you essentially have to be a leader that puts your money where your mouth is, right? Can't ask somebody to do something that you won't do.
Yeah, it's like walking the talk. Bark, you say you don't want to be all bark, no bite. We definitely want to be there. What we try to do is show it through example, and then we feel like that'll bring it out of everyone else, you know? I think any one of these guys could be a leader, either now or in the future. We just got to bring it out of them. Kind of, maybe we were there a little bit before them, so show them the way, show them what is expected of them, and continue to do what is expected of us.
Who would you point to as an up-and-coming leader on the team right now?
I mean, there's a ton. Dylan for sure. He can give a good pump-up speech right there. And I'll go with a defensive guy because I play defense. I'll go with Brandon. He's really learned the defense pretty well this year. He stays ready. He understands the systems, so much so that he's starting to understand the offense too, just so he can put himself in a better position. I think he'll be a great player next year and a great leader too.
Pat, if you had to name a leader for next season right now, who would you pick?
I'm a little more biased. Midfielder, I got Jack Genesee.
Okay. Why?
I mean, whenever he's on the sideline or in game, he's always talking to people. He's helping them out. If they got a question, they can go to him.
Before we jump into rapid fire, this community of West Genesee, I mean, it's been 5 years of being, before this side was built, we started over on the other side, and I've gotten to see the evolution of lacrosse over these last 5 years. The community has meant a lot to me because of what I've learned of your community. They embrace you, they treat you like a Wildcat. I feel like I live out here when I'm here, and it's been such a welcoming atmosphere. How would you describe the community? Because in the last 5 years, I've grown such an appreciation for West Genesee in this entire area because of, it's any sport, any coach, any student athlete, any alum, everybody has that same kind of arm in arm. I feel like I've always felt the love. So how would you describe the community?
I think it's great. I mean, they watched me grow up since I was a young kid playing lacrosse. And I like being in school. Your teachers talk about you. They see you on the news the day before, or they know that you have a game that day, so it's always great.
Sam, how would you describe this community?
Yeah, definitely they are bought in just because of the rich tradition. They definitely know about it, but that also puts a little bit more pressure on you. You know, if you have that West Genesee on your chest, you have to know you're doing all the right things, especially in public. When the coaches aren't watching, it's like you have to show that you're a good person. You have to show the guys on the West Genesee lacrosse team are not bad kids. They have character. They do all the right things, stuff like that.
Coach, the evolution of coaching in and of itself has definitely seen its changes in today's world. There's a lot of things that student athletes have at their disposal. Social media is one of the big ones, right? And something that I deal with on pretty much a daily basis when it comes to college, transfer portal, NIL, our coaches being loyal to the student athletes, our student athletes being loyal to the coaches, are people being honest, are people being transparent. What do you think as a coach are the most challenging things of any sport right now?
First, I'll keep it specific to lacrosse, is you have the club scene versus the high school scene. On the field, you have a lot of habits that get created in certain situations that if they're not well coached through, that could lead to some problems that you have, went back with your teams or just some individuality issues that you have on the club scene versus the high school scene. And then along with that is you do have, the club scene does bring a certain entitlement to a lot of players where they have seen some great success where you might not see it as much in the high school and vice versa. And so that is one of the biggest issues that you have is making sure that both scenes are very good for the individual player. They really are. But they have to be able to mesh together.
Jumping into rapid fire here in our final piece, Sam Rosa and Pat Linton joining us here for rapid fire. Coach Eric Burns will continue on with me, myself, Dan Tortora. This is Wake Up Call, here with you every single month with the West Genesee Wildcats at the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus. Pat, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to go back to your teammates for this one. Which one of your teammates is so funny that you think he could go on a comedy tour today and sell out a venue? Who's that funny?
T thinks he's funny, but he's not.
Okay.
Low bro.
Is AJ here?
Where's AJ? I'll go with AJ. He always makes me laugh.
AJ always makes you laugh? Okay. All right. Fair enough. Is it impressions? Is it in the moment? What is it?
Just in the moment. Whatever you throw at him, he responds with something funny.
Okay. Fair enough. What's your first question for me?
Who do you got winning the NBA Finals?
Well, my Raptors aren't there, so it's a tough one for me. My grandfather on my mom's side is a Celtics fan, so I would love to see the Celtics advance forward because there's some guys on the team that I'm a big fan of. I got to cover Jason Tatum in college, so that was fun to be around him. So I would say, in the Eastern Conference, it'd probably have to be Boston. I think in the Western Conference, probably Phoenix. I wanted them to win it last year. So, and then if it's Boston, Phoenix, I'm probably going with Boston. But if it's anybody but Boston, then I'd go with Phoenix. I don't have a dog in the race, but I want to see Phoenix do it. And I like the makeup of Boston. And not only my grandfather, but my Aunt Donna. There's a lot of Boston love. Shout out to my guy, Carl Coulange, another broadcaster. So I know a lot of Celtic fans. So if the Raptors aren't in it, then it's easy for me to, on the Eastern Conference side, go for Boston. All right, Sam. Somebody's going to play you in a movie, not your teammates. You can pick an actor. What actor would you want to play you in a movie? And what would the movie be about? You get to pick the theme of the movie. You get to pick the actor.
Theme is tough. I don't know about theme, but the person that played the American Psycho, that was Bradley Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with him. Good-looking guy, long hair.
Okay. What would the movie be about? What would Bradley Cooper be doing?
I couldn't even really tell you. Haven't really lived that much life yet, so I'd have to get back to you that one in a couple of years.
All right. Okay. So a project for the future.
Yeah.
Can we have it on the timeline for like 2027?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Coach, I'll go back to you. What is your favorite childhood memory?
Wow. That's a tough one because there's a lot. I had a great childhood. I had a great family, very supportive family. I could do pretty much anything I wanted to that they would make it work for me. Just any Christmas memory you could think of, loving life. I had a great childhood right here in Camillus. One for you. All right. If you had one wish, that you could grant somebody in this world, it can't be to you, who would it be and what would be the wish?
There's a lot of places I could go with this, but the first one is the easiest one. I pray for him all the time. And a lot of people know him, and this speaks to who he is. We became fast friends when he came into our community. And whenever I mention him, and I actually wear his bracelet on my wrist, is anywhere I go, people know Jim Rusakowski. He is the owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. We work together, we partner together through Wake Up Call. So we met through that. But he also announced over a year ago that he has ALS. And if I could grant anything to anybody, I would keep him here. I would keep him with his 3 children. I would keep him with his wife, Betty, who is incredible. And, I mean, listen, I never understood, and I always got angry when I heard people say only the good die young. But the reality of it all is there's never a good time for the good to die. My grandmother was almost 101, and I didn't want her to go. So Jimmer, I believe, is 49 right now, and this world needs him times a million. So if I could grant anything to anybody, I would give it to him. If I could give him my health and take his pain, I would do that, because he's the type of person that deserves that, really does. So we love you, Jimmer. And for my final question for Sam, you are going out on tour. You're starting a band. I need to know which 3 guys on your team are going to be in your band and what type of music you're going to be singing and playing.
I'd probably be more of a DJ, play like some EDM music, something like that.
Okay.
And I'm bringing 3 Ryan Consai with me.
Okay.
And then I'll also go Benny over there, Ben Chamberlain, and I'll bring Pat with me too, I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
He sort of likes the music.
so you're going to be doing some DJ work. Who would you trust to sing?
I bet Ryan's got some pipes. I bet he can sing.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. What's your question for me?
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I've been asked this, and I don't want to answer the same. I usually say flight and teleportation. I've also said healing, so let me say something different. If I had any power, what would I want that power to be? I got to shout out my guy Ryan, who's just sitting up here. I have always wanted to be Spider-Man for a day. Just for a day. And I'm not kidding about this. I'm 36 years old, and I still do this. Randomly, I'll just go like this. And someday I'm hoping that like webbing will shoot out of my wrist, and God will be like, there you go, today. You got 24 hours from the time you saw it, go do your thing. So I would love to be Spider-Man for a day, and I actually was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie, which was just on TV. Andrew Garfield, the chase scene, I was one of the extras in the chase scene. So I said on set and in general, I was like, you wouldn't have had to have 3 Spider-Men. You could have shot me out of a cannon, put me on a building. I would have played everything. I wouldn't have been like the guy, like, oh, when you go see it and you're like, oh, what did you do in the movie? I put on the suit and I walked around. No, I would want to be the guy that they put at the top of the Empire State Building and hung upside down, and I wouldn't tell my mom until filming was over, but I would have done it. So, you know, if they're ever looking for a Spider-Man to actually live the life, I'm your guy. That's what I would say.
That's a good answer.
All right, Pat, my final question for you. Who would you consider to be, you know what, I want to go off of something that you said to me, Coach. So you could sit on this couch and interview 3 celebrities. Who would those 3 celebrities be and why?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
I'll go Kobe Bryant,
I like it.
Muhammad Ali, and I'll just say LeBron too.
LeBron. Tell me why each of these 3.
Kobe, just because his mentality on sports and everything.
Yeah,
Muhammad Ali, just because his ability to be an activist and an athlete.
yeah.
And then LeBron, because I think he's the GOAT in basketball. So.
This generation has just...
And I could argue about it.
it's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played against the most talented players. LeBron buys them. That's the difference. It is. So why LeBron? I got to ask you why LeBron. Hold on one second, Pat. I got to do this. I have to do this because I have to see where the room is at. By a round of applause, if this person is the best, please clap. Michael Jordan. LeBron James. It's 7 people feverishly clapping. So it's Michael Jordan. Thank you, because you're all correct. Why? So why LeBron James, Pat?
I mean, his longevity, he's what, 30 something.
Yeah, he's
Still
laying
putting
around
up,
my age. Yeah.
Yeah, great numbers, and he's got the body of like an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And I just think his size, like playing in the 80s, he wouldn't be able to, I feel like no one would be able to guard him
Okay.
than before.
Right. Michael Jordan had to play against half of the NBA being good. LeBron's got to play like 3 or 4 teams that are good, and if he likes somebody and he thinks they're good, then he takes them on his
Yeah,
team.
but now the players nowadays are like 7 foot, they can dribble, shoot. Giannis.
Yeah, it's different now. But I would love to be the person that LeBron's like, come play with me, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I would like to be KD or Giannis going, I don't want to play with you. I'll play against you.
The NBA is definitely different now. It's definitely soft.
Yeah, and I still have much love for Dwayne Wade, who won a championship with a very old Shaquille O'Neal, and before LeBron James. What's your question for me, Pat? God, I love that this room said Michael Jordan. So good.
Your Mount Rushmore of just professional athletes.
Of every sport together? Gosh darn it. I gotta pick 4. That's insane. What, I pick 4 or 5? I don't even know. So, because I normally have that like bonus head that I put on my Mount Rushmore. So my 4, Lord, I would have to say Hank Aaron, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and wow. Jim Brown, but it could have been Ernie Davis if he played, you know? It could have been Ernie. So, yeah, that's tough. It's really I could put Muhammad Ali on there. That's a very tough thing to do. I also realize, I'm not a Laker fan, but I realize when you do a Mount Rushmore, you could put easily 4 Lakers on there and not even touch any other team, which is crazy. And, you know, but before LeBron even played there, they're like, is he on it? And I was like, wait a minute. Kobe Bryant, you know, you have Wilt, you have Kareem, you have Magic, you stop there. So, you know, yeah, I mean, that's a really hard question. I appreciate it. And I guess that's where I would go, because I picked one from each sport. But Muhammad Ali is hard to keep off the list, for sure. So with that being said, Pat Linton, Sam Rosa, head coach Eric Burns, myself, Dan Tortora, Ryan Mahoney, as well as River Oudemool, and I want to thank you all for being a part of this broadcast on the very special night that we get to celebrate West Genesee boys lacrosse. Make sure you go out and celebrate the team all throughout the season. Show them some love. Come out to the Wildcat. We'll be here every month with Wake Up Call, and we will be here every month with West Genesee Athletics. Gentlemen, coach, team, families, please a round of applause for these guys. They deserve it. We'll talk with you all soon. Be good.